Fort Bragg, North Carolina, October 14th, 1972. U.S. Army Base Recreation Gymnasium, 4:06 in the afternoon. Bruce Lee entered through a side door while 180 soldiers and recently returned veterans waited around an old boxing ring. There were no cameras, no reporters, no film lights. The visit had been arranged as a private afternoon for men who had returned from Vietnam during the previous year. Bruce had been invited as an actor and martial artist. The word actor came first. That was the word Master Sergeant Frank Maddox heard. Maddox stood near the back row with his arms folded. He was 41 years old, 6'4", 228 pounds, a heavy chest, long shoulders, large hands with thick knuckles. His nose had been broken during Army boxing years earlier. A narrow white scar crossed the left side of his scalp. He wore an olive drab field shirt, fatigue trousers, and polished combat boots. Maddox had completed 3 tours in Vietnam. He had led men through night patrols, village searches, ambushes, and withdrawals under fire. He was not the base combat instructor. He was one of the veterans Bruce had come to meet. Bruce removed his black jacket and folded it over a chair. He wore a fitted black, long-sleeve shirt, dark trousers, and black training shoes. The commander said Bruce would answer questions and demonstrate several principles of distance and timing. The applause was brief. Maddox did not join it. A young Army boxer entered the ring wearing gloves. Bruce climbed through the ropes and asked him to throw the jab whenever he wished. The boxer fired. Bruce's lead hand touched the chest before the glove reached full extension. The boxer tried again. Bruce stepped outside and stopped a straight lead beside the face. The boxer added a right hand. Bruce shifted away from the jab, touched the supporting thigh with his foot, and placed a fist against the ribs. The movement was fast, controlled. Maddox spoke from the back. "He knows where the punch is coming." The gym became quiet. Bruce turned. Maddox walked toward the ring. The men in front of him moved aside without being asked. "He asked for a jab," Maddox said. Bruce answered, "I asked him to begin with one." In a movie, the first punch is written before the scene starts. Bruce rested one hand on the top rope. "What would you tell him?" "Do not give you a clean beginning." Maddox stopped near the apron. In real combat, the other man crowds you, grabs your clothes, hits while somebody else is shouting, and keeps coming after the first answer. That is not an argument against timing. It is an argument against demonstrations. The commander stepped closer. "This is a private visit, Frank. That is why I am saying it here." Maddox looked around the room. No audience outside the gate. No newspaper. Only men who know what happens when a clean plan meets a dirty place. Bruce climbed down from the ring. He stopped several feet from Maddox. The veteran was nearly 7 inches taller and more than 80 pounds heavier. Maddox looked him over. "The posters make you look dangerous." Bruce answered, "Posters do not hit. Neither do actors when the other man is not paid to lose." The commander's face hardened. Bruce raised one hand before he could interfere. "You are not paid," Bruce said. "No. You are not helping me. No. You do not believe the movies." Maddox stepped closer. "Movies do not work in real combat. Movies are not supposed to fight. You are." Bruce held his eyes. "That sounds like a challenge." "It is." The room changed. Maddox pointed toward the old ring. 5 minutes. The commander stepped between them. "No?" Maddox removed the field shirt and handed it to another veteran. Under it, he wore an olive drab t-shirt. Old scars crossed the shoulder and ribs. He removed his combat boots and socks, then stood barefoot on the gym floor. "You came to meet veterans," he said. "Meet one." Bruce turned to the commander. "I will follow your rules." A base physician examined both men. Neither carried an active injury. The commander finally allowed one controlled 5-minute round. Punches and open hand strikes to the head and body were permitted. Kicks were allowed below the neck. Clinch work and trips were allowed. No eyes, throat, spine, groin, knees, elbows, headbutts, or ground fighting. If either man touched the floor with more than one hand or knee, the referee would separate them. Maddox entered the ring wearing the olive drab t-shirt, fatigue trousers, and bare feet. Bruce climbed through the ropes in the fitted black shirt, dark trousers, and black training shoes. Their hands were wrapped with thin white tape. A senior Army boxing coach entered as referee. Maddox walked to center ring. "No camera." Bruce raised his hands. "No second take." Bruce answered, "Then do not miss the first one." The referee stepped between them. "Protect yourselves. Obey the break." The soldiers moved closer to the ring. The youngest stood in front. The veterans remained behind them. Maddox looked toward the men who had served beside him. No one encouraged him. No one tried to stop him. They understood that the challenge had already become personal. The referee checked the thin tape around both men's hands. Maddox looked at Bruce. "Nobody outside this room needs to hear a better version of what happens." Bruce answered, "They will not hear one from me." Maddox nodded. That was the first agreement between them. The timekeeper lifted the watch. The commander gave the final signal. He moved away. The fight began. Maddox did not take a boxing stance. He walked forward with both hands low. Bruce waited for the shoulders to settle. They never did. Maddox spoke while closing the distance. "This is the part the camera cuts." His left hand shot toward Bruce's face before the final word ended. Bruce moved outside. The fingers missed the cheek. Maddox's right shoulder struck Bruce in the chest. The impact drove Bruce backward. A short right fist followed into the ribs. It landed hard beneath the black shirt. Bruce's body shifted. Maddox did not admire the punch. His left hand caught Bruce behind the upper arm. He turned and drove him into the ropes. The top rope stretched across Bruce's back. The crowd reacted. Maddox struck the body again. A compact left fist landed beneath Bruce's elbow. Bruce's breath shortened. The referee moved closer. Maddox used his forehead against Bruce's shoulder without headbutting. He pinned the upper body and prepared another right hand. Bruce hit first. A short, straight punch landed under Maddox's sternum. The veteran's chest tightened. Bruce struck the same line again. Maddox kept pressure on him. Bruce drove the heel of his shoe into the inside of Maddox's lead thigh. The stop kick landed full contact. Maddox's knee moved outward. The pressure loosened. Bruce turned along the ropes and drove a straight lead into Maddox's face. The fist landed across the broken nose. Maddox's head moved back. Bruce followed with a short punch into the ribs, then stepped into open ring. The first exchange had given both men an answer. Maddox could close distance without a clean beginning. Bruce could create a beginning after contact had already started. Maddox touched his nose. No blood. He looked toward Bruce. "That would have been the cut." Bruce answered, "You are still talking." Maddox moved again. This time he raised a conventional guard. Left hand forward, right hand near the cheek. He stepped behind a jab. Bruce shifted outside. A second jab came toward the chest. Bruce parried it. Maddox did not throw the expected right hand. He kicked Bruce's lead shin with the side of his bare foot. The impact disrupted Bruce's stance. Maddox stepped in with a right fist to the body. The punch landed. Then a left hook struck the opposite side. Bruce gave one step. Maddox followed. The veteran's boxing was not polished like the young athletes. It was compact. Every punch carried the body behind it. He gave Bruce no long reset. Bruce drove a stop kick into Maddox's thigh. The heel landed. Maddox absorbed it and caught Bruce's ankle with both hands. He lifted. Bruce's supporting foot left the canvas. Maddox turned and dumped him onto the ring floor. Bruce landed on one hip and one hand. The referee entered immediately. "Break!" Maddox released and stepped away. Bruce rose. The soldiers around the ring reacted to the takedown. Maddox had not needed ground fighting. He had taken the kick, caught the leg, and put Bruce down in one movement. The referee checked Bruce. Bruce nodded. They returned to center. Maddox looked at the timekeeper. Only 43 seconds had passed. He looked back at Bruce. 4 minutes left. Bruce raised the lead hand. "That is enough." Maddox attacked with the jab. Bruce moved his head. The right hand followed. Bruce leaned outside. Maddox stepped across the escape and drove the shoulder into Bruce's chest again. Bruce gave ground. Maddox tried to seize the upper arm. Bruce struck the wrist, then the face. The straight lead landed clearly on Maddox's cheek. Bruce drove a low side kick into the lead thigh. Maddox's leg shifted. Bruce hit the body beneath the ribs. Maddox tried to answer with a left hook. Bruce moved under it. A palm heel struck Maddox's jaw. The contact lifted his face. Bruce stepped away. 4 attacks: wrist, face, thigh, body, jaw. Maddox turned toward him. The veteran's expression had changed. Not fear, attention. He no longer saw a demonstration partner. He saw a man solving pressure while it happened. Maddox came forward more carefully. He feinted the jab. Bruce did not move. He stepped left. Bruce followed the center. Maddox stamped the lead foot as if entering. Bruce held position. The right hand came suddenly over the top. Bruce leaned outside. The fist passed close to the temple. Maddox's left hand seized the black shirt at the shoulder. He pulled Bruce into a short right uppercut. The fist landed beneath the ribs. Bruce's torso folded. Maddox turned the grip and drove him toward the corner. Bruce struck the body. Maddox kept moving. Bruce hit the ribs again. The veteran's elbow lowered, but the grip remained. Maddox drove a knee toward the body. The rules prohibited knees. The referee shouted before contact. Maddox stopped the knee in the air. Bruce used the pause. A straight lead landed across Maddox's mouth. His head snapped back. Bruce pivoted from the corner and side-kicked the center of Maddox's chest. The heel struck full contact. The veteran's upper body rocked backward. His rear foot slid. The crowd came alive. Maddox remained standing. A thin line of blood appeared at the edge of his lower lip. He wiped it with one thumb. He looked at the blood, then at Bruce. "No, stuntman." Bruce answered, "No." Maddox raised both hands. The next exchange became faster. Maddox jabbed. Bruce parried. Maddox kicked the shin. Bruce lifted the leg and reduced the impact. Bruce drove the foot back into Maddox's thigh. Maddox stepped through it. A left hook struck Bruce's body. Bruce hit the chest. Maddox threw the right hand. Bruce slipped outside and punched the ribs. Maddox caught the back of Bruce's shirt and tried to pull him into another short punch. Bruce turned with the grip and struck the veteran's biceps. The arm weakened. Bruce landed a palm heel on the jaw. Maddox's face turned. Bruce side-kicked the hip. The veteran moved sideways into the ropes. Bruce followed. Maddox pushed away from the ropes with both hands in charge. The shoulder struck Bruce in the chest. Bruce was driven backward toward center ring. Maddox's right fist landed on the body. A left hook struck the jaw. Bruce's head turned. The soldiers shouted. Maddox followed with another right hand toward the face. Bruce moved late. The knuckles clipped the eyebrow. A small cut opened above Bruce's left eye. The referee stepped closer. Maddox pressed. Bruce's back neared the opposite ropes. Maddox threw a left hook to the body. It landed beneath the marked ribs. Bruce folded. Maddox loaded the right hand. The veteran had created the moment he wanted. Bruce hurt, crowded, looking at the body attack. No clean beginning. The right hand traveled toward the head. Bruce's lead foot moved first. A stop kick struck the inside of Maddox's supporting thigh. The veteran's base opened. The right fist passed above Bruce's shoulder. Bruce stepped outside. A straight lead landed on Maddox's nose. Blood appeared immediately. Bruce drove a short punch beneath the sternum. Maddox's body tightened. Bruce side-kicked the chest. The heel compressed the olive drab shirt. Maddox was forced backward 2 steps. The audience erupted. Bruce left the ropes. Blood moved from the cut above his eye. A dark mark had formed along the ribs. Maddox's nose was bleeding. His lower lip was split. His lead thigh had begun to redden. Neither man looked untouched. Maddox breathed through the mouth. Maddox lowered the guard slightly. Bruce had been attacking the obvious lines. The thigh, the ribs, the chest. Maddox changed the problem. He stopped trying to walk Bruce straight backward. He began turning him. A short step left, a hand reaching toward the shoulder, a sudden pull instead of a push. Bruce struck the wrist. Maddox released it and drove a right fist into the body. The punch landed beneath the bruised ribs. Bruce's elbow dropped. Maddox hooked the back of the neck with one hand and turned Bruce toward the ropes. The referee warned him not to pull the head into a strike. Maddox obeyed. He used the grip only to change direction. Bruce's shoulder touched the top rope. Maddox punched the body. The fist landed. Bruce answered with a short, straight punch into the chest. Maddox kept the angle. Bruce struck the ribs. The veteran's elbow lowered. Maddox threw the left hook toward the head. Bruce moved under it. The hook missed. Bruce stepped outside and drove a side kick into the hip. The heel landed full contact. Maddox's body turned toward the corner. Bruce followed with a straight lead. The fist struck the side of the nose. Blood moved faster across Maddox's upper lip. Bruce hit the body, then kicked the thigh. Maddox's knee bent. He caught the top rope with one hand and stopped himself from falling. The crowd shouted. Bruce did not rush. Maddox pushed away from the rope. He gave Bruce a false opening on the right side. Bruce stepped toward it. Maddox had been waiting. A short left fist struck Bruce beneath the ribs. A right hand followed across the cheek. The first punch bent the body. The second turned the head. Maddox caught the black shirt near the shoulder and tried to drag Bruce into the corner. Bruce moved with the pull. He struck Maddox's forearm. The grip loosened. Bruce drove a palm heel into the jaw. Maddox's head snapped back. Bruce attacked the supporting thigh. The heel landed. The veteran's leg folded. Bruce struck the sternum. Maddox moved backward. He threw the right hand while retreating. Bruce slipped it and punched the ribs again. Maddox's mouth opened. Bruce side-kicked the abdomen. The veteran's back hit the ropes. The ropes stretched and returned him. Bruce was already outside the line of the counter. Maddox stopped near center. He stared at Bruce. "You keep leaving before the answer." Bruce raised the lead hand. "You keep announcing it with your feet." Maddox looked down for half a second. That was enough to make the soldiers understand. Bruce was not reading a planned punch. He was reading the weight that had to move before the punch could carry force. Maddox shifted the feet again. This time he shortened the stance. The right hand became harder to see. He jabbed toward Bruce's chest. Bruce parried. Maddox stepped into a left hook to the body. Bruce turned enough to reduce the impact. The right hand came over the top. Bruce slipped outside. Maddox spun with him and struck the back of Bruce's shoulder with the forearm. Not an elbow, not the spine. A legal collision that drove Bruce forward. Maddox caught the waist and tried another lift. Bruce widened the base. The veteran pulled harder. Bruce hit the ribs. Maddox continued. Bruce struck beneath the sternum. The grip weakened. Bruce drove the heel backward into Maddox's thigh. The leg moved. Bruce turned inside the arms. A palm heel landed on the jaw. Maddox's head snapped sideways. Bruce hit the chest, then the body. Maddox gave one step. Bruce kicked the thigh. The veteran's knee dipped. Bruce drove a side kick into the center of the chest. The heel landed squarely. Maddox flew backward into the ropes. For the first time, both arms dropped over the top rope while he recovered his balance. The gym erupted. Maddox pulled himself upright. His face showed no amusement now, no contempt, only work. He stepped off the ropes and raised the hands again. Bruce stood near center. Both men breathed through damaged bodies. Neither looked away. The timekeeper called 2 minutes remaining. Maddox heard it. He looked at Bruce. "Still enough." Bruce answered, "Come find out." Maddox moved forward behind both forearms. No jab, no long punch. He used the guard to enter. Bruce struck the lead thigh. Maddox kept coming. Bruce hit the chest. Maddox accepted it. He closed the gap and wrapped both arms around Bruce's upper body. The veteran locked his hands behind Bruce's back. He lifted. Bruce's shoes left the canvas. Maddox drove forward and dropped him onto the ring floor. Bruce landed on his back and shoulder. The ring shook. The referee rushed between them. "Break!" Maddox released immediately. Bruce rolled to one knee. The crowd had gone quiet. The throw had been heavy. The referee checked Bruce's eyes. Bruce stood. Maddox waited in the neutral corner. He did not celebrate. The referee asked Bruce whether he could continue. "Yes." The referee wiped blood from above Bruce's eye and restarted them. Maddox stepped out of the corner. "You felt that." Bruce raised his hands. So did the floor. A few soldiers laughed. Maddox did not. He attacked. Bruce struck first. A straight lead landed on the bleeding nose. Maddox's head snapped back. Bruce drove a low side kick into the thigh. The leg bent. Maddox threw the right hand. Bruce moved outside. A short punch landed under the veteran's ribs. Maddox turned and caught Bruce with a left hook to the body. The fist landed hard. Bruce's elbow dropped. Maddox stepped close and drove a right uppercut toward the chin. Bruce shifted enough for the punch to scrape past. Bruce struck the mouth with a palm heel. Maddox's split lip opened wider. Bruce kicked the lead thigh again. The veteran's knee dipped. Bruce drove a straight punch into the chest. Maddox gave one step. Bruce followed for the first time. He did not wait for Maddox to build pressure again. Straight lead to the face. The punch landed. Short right to the body. It landed beneath the elbow. Low side kick to the thigh. The veteran's leg moved. Bruce stepped outside the return. Maddox swung the left hook. It missed. Bruce drove a side kick into the abdomen. The heel landed at the center. Maddox's body folded. His back touched the ropes. The crowd rose. Bruce had changed the direction of the fight. He was no longer escaping the veteran's advance. He was making the veteran defend while moving backward. Maddox pushed away from the ropes. He stepped into a right hand. Bruce parried it. Maddox used the parry to grab the wrist. He pulled Bruce forward. A left fist drove into the ribs. The punch landed. Maddox turned the wrist and tried to drag Bruce into another shoulder collision. Bruce stepped across the veteran's lead foot. He punched the biceps. Maddox's grip weakened. Bruce struck the ribs. The veteran tightened. Bruce drove a palm heel into the jaw. Maddox's head snapped back. Bruce kicked the supporting thigh. The knee folded. The wrist grip broke. Bruce side-kicked the chest. Maddox flew backward into the ropes. The top rope caught him beneath the shoulders. He remained there for 1 second. The timekeeper called 1 minute. Maddox came off the ropes. His breathing was heavy. Blood ran from the nose to the upper lip. The left thigh had swollen. He raised both hands. Bruce's cut had stopped flowing, but the eyebrow was open. His ribs were bruised. His breathing was controlled. Maddox took 1 step, then another. He did not rush. The soldiers around the ring were silent now. No one was thinking about films. No one was thinking about the demonstration. They were watching 2 men who had already proven they would continue through pain. Maddox feinted low. Bruce held position. Maddox stepped closer. Bruce shifted left. Maddox cut the angle. The veteran showed the right hand. Bruce watched the shoulder. Maddox kicked the lead shin instead. The foot landed. Bruce's balance moved. Maddox charged. A right fist struck the body. A left hook clipped the jaw. Bruce gave 1 step. Maddox grabbed the shirt and pulled. Bruce struck the ribs. Maddox's right hand came over the top. Bruce slipped inside. The fist passed behind his head. Bruce drove a short punch beneath the sternum. Maddox's breath broke. Bruce struck the nose. The straight lead landed. Maddox's head moved back. Bruce attacked the thigh. The low side kick landed full contact. Maddox's leg buckled. Bruce hit the body again. The veteran folded. Bruce drove a side kick into the chest. The heel landed square. Maddox was thrown backward into the corner. His shoulders struck the pads around the turnbuckle. The crowd erupted. 30 seconds. Maddox pushed himself out. His lead leg dragged. He raised the right hand. Bruce did not rush. Maddox advanced. The veteran's face showed the decision before the body could hide it. He intended to finish with 1 heavy right hand. Not because he believed Bruce was an actor anymore. Because the time was almost gone. Maddox jabbed toward the chest. Bruce touched it aside. The right shoulder turned. The rear foot drove. The fist came toward Bruce's head with everything Maddox had left. Bruce reached the structure before the punch arrived. His lead heel struck the inside of Maddox's supporting thigh. The veteran's base split. Bruce's straight lead landed across the bleeding nose. Maddox's head snapped backward. A short punch drove into the body. The elbow dropped. Bruce stepped to the outside. A full contact side kick struck the center of Maddox's chest. The heel folded the olive drab shirt inward. Maddox flew backward. He hit the ropes. The ropes returned him toward center. Bruce was already there. A palm heel landed on the jaw. Maddox's face turned. Bruce struck the thigh again. The leg folded. Maddox dropped to 1 knee. The referee moved between them. The timekeeper called 10 seconds. Maddox placed 1 hand on the canvas. The referee began checking him. Maddox pushed upward. He reached his feet. The referee looked into his eyes. Maddox raised both hands. Continue. The referee hesitated. Maddox stepped around him. Bruce waited. 5 seconds. Maddox came forward 1 last time. He threw no feint, no jab. Only a left hook meant to move Bruce into the final right. Bruce stepped inside the hook. The gloveless fist passed behind his head. Bruce drove a short straight punch into Maddox's chest. The veteran stopped. Bruce hit the ribs. Maddox folded. Bruce placed 1 final palm heel against the jaw. The strike landed clean. Maddox's head snapped back. His legs remained beneath him for 1 moment. Then the damaged lead knee touched the canvas again. The timekeeper's signal sounded. The referee waved the fight over. Bruce stepped away immediately. No raised arms, no celebration, no smile toward the soldiers. Maddox remained on one knee. His chest moved heavily. The referee asked whether he was clear. Maddox nodded. He placed one foot beneath himself and stood. The veterans around the ring did not cheer. They watched him. Maddox looked at Bruce across the canvas. Blood marked both men. Bruce's eyebrow was cut. His ribs were bruised. Maddox's nose and lip were bleeding. His lead thigh was swollen. The veteran walked toward him. The commander moved closer, prepared to enter the ring. Maddox stopped in front of Bruce. "You did not fight like an actor." Bruce answered, "I did not come here to act." Maddox breathed through the nose and winced. "You still do not know war." Bruce held his eyes. "I never said I did." The answer stopped Maddox. Not because it defeated another argument, because Bruce had refused the argument from the beginning. He had not claimed that a ring was a jungle. He had not claimed that technique erased fear, confusion, weapons, or death. He had only claimed that timing, distance, and adaptation still belonged to the man using them. Maddox looked toward the soldiers, then back at Bruce. "I have met men who played soldiers and started believing the uniform belonged to them." Bruce answered, "Then do not let me speak for soldiers." Maddox's expression changed. The anger that had entered the ring with him had nowhere left to stand. Bruce had not borrowed his experience. He had not asked the veterans to treat a movie as proof. He had accepted a fight and answered it without pretending it was war. Before Maddox extended the hand, he looked toward the old boxing ring. The ropes were still moving from the last collision. The young Army boxer stood beside the timekeeper, with both gloves hanging at his sides. Maddox pointed toward him. "You were helping him earlier." The young boxer straightened. "Yes, Master Sergeant." Maddox looked at Bruce. "And I thought that made the answer false." Bruce waited. Maddox continued. "Then I gave you no clean start." "No." "I crowded you." "Yes." "Caught the kick." "Yes." "Put you down." Bruce nodded. Maddox touched the swelling beneath his ribs. "And the answer changed." "It had to." The veteran looked around at the men. That was the part he had not expected. Bruce had not protected the demonstration. He had abandoned it the moment the conditions changed. Maddox had entered the ring intending to expose a rehearsed answer. Instead, he had forced Bruce to show whether he could build another one. Maddox extended his hand. Bruce looked at it, then took it. The applause began near the back row, not from the youngest soldiers, from a man using a cane. Then another veteran joined, then the rest of the room. Maddox released Bruce's hand. "Movies still do not work in real combat." Bruce nodded. "No." Maddox touched the blood beneath his nose. "But you were not using a movie." "No." The commander climbed into the ring. He looked at both men. "That was 5 minutes I did not authorize emotionally." Several men laughed. The tension broke. The physician checked Maddox first. No broken nose, no damaged knee. The thigh was badly bruised. The lip required several stitches. Bruce's eyebrow needed to be closed. The ribs were bruised but not broken. Both men were ordered to remain for observation. The informal meal began later than planned. Long tables had been arranged in an adjoining hall. Coffee, roast meat, potatoes, bread. Nothing ceremonial. Bruce sat among the veterans rather than at the head table prepared for him. Maddox entered after the physician finished with his lip. A small bandage crossed the lower side of his face. He walked with a slight limp. The room noticed. No one mocked him. Maddox took the empty seat across from Bruce. For several minutes they ate without speaking. A young soldier finally asked the question everyone had avoided. "Master Sergeant, why did you hate him before he did anything?" The table became quiet. Maddox placed the fork down. "I did not hate him." The soldier waited. Maddox looked toward Bruce. "I hated the reason I thought he was here." Bruce said nothing. Maddox continued. "We came home and watched people explain the war to us." His voice was calm. "Men who never smelled it. Men who never waited for a helicopter that was late. Men who never learned how loud one wounded soldier could become in the dark." No one interrupted. Maddox looked down at the table. "Then an actor walks into a gym and people say he understands real combat." Bruce answered, "Nobody who invited me said that." "I know that now." The young soldier looked at Bruce. "Then what were you trying to show?" Bruce placed both hands on the table. "That a man should not give his balance, distance, or next decision to the person attacking him. Maddox looked at him. That sentence sounds clean. Bruce nodded. Using it is not. A few veterans smiled. Maddox touched the bandage on his lip. No, Bruce continued. Real danger changes everything. The body becomes heavy. The eyes move to the wrong place. The first plan fails. He looked around the table. I cannot tell these men what war feels like. He looked back at Maddox. But I can say that when the first answer fails, the man still needs another answer. Maddox considered it. That is closer, Bruce asked. Closer to what? To something worth saying in this room. The meal continued. The veterans asked fewer questions about films than the base officers expected. They asked about recovery after a hard hit, about breathing when the ribs were damaged, about keeping the eyes on a larger man without freezing, about whether anger made speed faster. Bruce answered directly. A hard hit did not disappear because a man was disciplined. Pain had to be acknowledged before the next movement could be chosen. Breathing did not become calm by pretending the body was safe. The exhale had to be protected. Anger could create commitment. It could also make the first attack visible. Maddox challenged several answers. Bruce did not avoid him. When they disagreed, they kept the disagreement narrow. No speeches about East and West. No claim that one system solved every condition. Maddox described a night when the direction of movement mattered more than the speed of movement. Bruce listened. Bruce described how a fighter could attack the base beneath a stronger man instead of trading power with the shoulders. Maddox listened. The men at the table stopped watching for another conflict. They watched two experienced men testing language with the same seriousness they had tested movement. One veteran seated near the end of the table had lost most of the movement in his right hand. He had remained silent through the discussion. Now he lifted the hand a few inches from the table. What happens when the part you train does not answer anymore? Bruce looked at the damaged hand. He did not answer quickly. Maddox watched him. Bruce moved his chair slightly and stood beside the veteran. He asked permission before touching the forearm. The man nodded. Bruce placed no fighting stance around him. No performance. He asked the veteran to press forward with the left shoulder while keeping the damaged right side relaxed. The man did. Bruce changed the angle of the feet. The pressure became easier to carry. Do not ask the injured part to become the old part, Bruce said. Build the next movement from what still answers. The veteran tried again. This time the body turned without dragging the damaged hand behind it. The movement was small. The table noticed. Maddox leaned back. That is not how you moved in the ring. Bruce returned to his chair. No. Why not? Because I had different tools. Maddox looked toward the veteran's hand. And the principle stayed. The principle has to survive the person using it. The veteran tested the movement once more. He did not smile. He nodded. That was enough. Before sunset, the commander asked Bruce to remain for one final photograph. Bruce declined. The visit had been private. He wanted it to remain that way. Maddox heard the answer. He looked toward the public affairs officer holding the camera. Put it away. The officer lowered it. That choice mattered to the veterans more than another demonstration would have. Bruce had entered without cameras. He would leave without turning the fight into proof for anyone outside the room. The next morning, Bruce returned to the recreation gym to collect the black jacket he had left in the commander's office. The ring was empty. The chairs had been moved back against the wall. Frank Maddox stood near the ropes. He wore the same fatigue trousers, a clean olive drab shirt, and combat boots. The limp remained slight. He held Bruce's jacket over one arm. Bruce approached. Maddox handed it to him. You forgot this. Bruce took the jacket. I had other things to remember. Maddox looked at the old ring. I watched your feet too late. You watched my hands. I watched what I wanted to prove. Bruce put on the jacket. Maddox looked toward him. That is different. Yes. Maddox rested one hand on the top rope. I thought you came here to sell courage. Bruce answered. Courage is difficult to sell. Maddox looked at him. Movies do it every week. They sell the picture. Bruce adjusted the sleeve. The man still has to supply the courage. Maddox nodded slowly. Outside the gym, several veterans waited near the entrance. Not for another demonstration. They were leaving for breakfast. One held the door open. Bruce walked toward them. Maddox followed. At the doorway, the same young soldier from the meal asked whether Bruce would return. Bruce looked toward the commander. The commander said the invitation would remain open. Maddox stood beside the door. He looked at Bruce once more. Movies still do not work in real combat. Bruce nodded. We settled that. Maddox opened the door wider. But neither does contempt. Bruce looked at him. Maddox continued. It makes a man see the answer he already chose. Bruce stepped through the doorway. That is why you missed the beginning. Maddox almost smiled. Next time I will not. Bruce looked back. Then next time will be different. The veterans walked together toward the mess hall. No one asked Bruce to lead. No one asked Maddox to walk behind him. They moved as a group. Fort Bragg, North Carolina, October 14th, 1972. U.S. Army Base Recreation Gymnasium. Bruce Lee had arrived as an actor whose films were known by the youngest men in the room. Frank Maddox had looked at that word and decided the rest before Bruce moved. He believed the demonstration was clean because the danger was controlled. He believed the speed belonged to the camera. He believed the reputation depended on another man agreeing to lose. Then he entered the ring without a script, without gloves, and without a clean beginning. He crowded Bruce, drove him into the ropes, struck the ribs, caught the kick, threw him onto the canvas, opened the eyebrow, forced him to solve the fight while hurt and moving backward. The veteran had been right about one thing. Real resistance changed everything, but it did not erase timing. It revealed whether timing could survive contact. Bruce did not defeat Frank Maddox by pretending the ring was war. He defeated him by refusing to pretend anything. Not that pain was small, not that size was meaningless, not that one clean technique would finish every problem. He accepted the first collision, changed the distance, attacked the supporting leg, struck the body before the larger man could reset, moved from the ropes before the next pressure arrived, and when Maddox committed everything to the final right hand, Bruce reached the structure, holding it up. Stop kick to the supporting thigh. Straight lead to the bleeding nose. Short punch beneath the ribs. Full contact side kick to the chest. The actor had not shown a movie. The veteran had not shown a war. Two men had shown what remained when neither was allowed to hide behind the name other people had given him.